Okay, so we left off with Sarah just having a miscarriage. So let's recap. Sarah got pregnant in January of 20 and had to have an emergency surgery because the baby implanted in her tubes. So she had to have surgery, to get that baby taken out. That messed up Sarah. Okay. Sarah then turned around, Bob then knocked her up again. Now she done lost that baby too. So, Sarah just not winning when it come to babies. Okay. So that's what we pick up at. Okay. Also, in 2020, there was all that stimulus money going around. Unemployment was giving out all this money. Okay. Bob blew all of his money. Now, they were supposed to be saving money to move because, they were trying to make a baby. So they needed a bigger place. Sarah only has a 2-bedroom, 2-bath home. They need a 3-bedroom home. So, Bob telling her, because she said, well, give me the money that we're putting up for the place. Give me the $2,500 that we're putting up for our deposit. He goes, no, don't worry about it. I got it. I'll hold on to the money. I'll keep the money. I'm gonna put the money in. This is what he tells her. So she goes, she leery. She don't want to do this, but she say, okay, if you think you can hold on to the money, fine. I'll let you keep the money. So she thinking that Bob is putting this money up for them. That's where her thought process is at. Bob got us. Bob putting this money up for us. We're gonna move. Well, Bob wasn't putting money up. They go to a birthday party for one of Sarah's cousins and she finds out at this party that Bob spent all the money. He tells her while they out on the dance floor, cutting the rug. He leans in, gets in her ear and goes, we got less money than I told you we got. Because not only has Bob just been blowing money every time they go somewhere, Sarah's like, I can't keep up with what's going on. Like, they went to a party a few days before, and it was somebody's birthday at the party, and Bob throwing this dude money and going and buying this dude bottles of liquor. Like, do you know him? Like, is he your son? Is he your relative? Why are you giving this dude money? That's how Sarah feeling. Bob like, that's what you're supposed to do when it was somebody's birthday. You're supposed to get him money and you're supposed to get him bottles. Sarah like, I don't give a damn who birthday it is. I don't care. That's our money. We good. We still got plenty of money. This is what he's telling her. Well, they didn't have plenty of money because Bob and blew all his money. So when he tells Sarah that he don't got his money, she goes, okay, no, it's messed up that you did this here, but you did it here because you didn't want me to say anything to you. How much money do we got? And he goes, we got about $1,200 left. And she said, well, that's fine, as long as you put our moving money up. Well, that's the thing. We don't have our moving money either. That's gone. How much of our moving money is gone? He goes, all of it. She's pissed, but she not gonna make a scene because, she in front of her family. She don't want them in her business. She also still not in the right headspace from, losing yet again another baby. So, you know what? She's like, well, I'll handle this when we get home. I'll deal with it when we get home. Big blowout. They fall out over that. They don't speak for a while. Of course, he come back on the same blah, blah, blah BS that he always on. I'm sorry. I'm going to make it right. I'm going to do better by us. I'm going to get us together. We're going to move. We're going to be happy. Blase, blase, blase. None of that happened. But Sarah worked. Sarah making money. Sarah just got a giant raise at her job. So, Sarah floating stuff. Sarah holding it down. Sarah been taking care of things since they met. And it never really was an issue to Sarah, because I know a lot of people gonna say, well, why'd you put up with him this long if he wasn't doing what he's supposed to do? It never was an issue for Sarah because Sarah was paying the bills. So it never occurred to her, damn, Bob not doing what he's supposed to do, because Sarah was already in that mindset of, I got to pay these bills. It wasn't until after COVID that Sarah's money was affected and she started realizing, like, damn, Bob ain't pulling his weight. But we'll get there. So, we towards the end of the year now in 2020. It's probably around the end of October, beginning of November. Sarah decides to go to her OB. And she says, I want to have a baby. I want to try fertility drugs. Her OB goes, well, you've been pregnant twice this year. I don't really think you need fertility drugs. And she was like, you're probably right. I don't probably need them, but I feel like I want them to help my chances. And she goes, you know what? You're right. They will help your chances, and they'll make you ovulate regularly. That way you can track your ovulation in time when you have sex, so that you can make sure you get pregnant. Because when you're trying to have a baby, you should only be having sex on your high fertility and ovulation days. Okay. So Sarah's like, yeah, all right, let's do it. She's taking these pills, and they messing her up too. I mean, she having all type of symptoms. She having hot flashes, mood swings, she just all over the place. Like, she having all of it from this medicine. But she's like, you know what? It's going to be worth it. I'm going to get me a baby. I get to keep being a mom, because don't forget, she already got a kid. But just because you have a child doesn't mean that you don't want more children. So that's where Sarah's head is. She's like, I got this. I'm going to do it. We're going to get this baby. We're going to be happy. Okay. So I'm so sorry for all the shaking in the camera. I don't really know what's going on here. So she's taking this medicine. December roll around, and her doctor goes, well, we're going to take a break because you've done 3 cycles of these pills, and it's not healthy to just stay on them continuously. So she was like, after this round, we're going to take a break, and if you don't get pregnant, we'll come back and reassess in 3 months. Well, it turns out it wasn't Sarah's fault that she wasn't getting pregnant. Bob was sabotaging. And Bob was back on the drugs because, the first 2 rounds of the medicine, the very first round, she told Bob, hey, I took the test, tonight's the night, we got to get it in. Bob made it like he was all on board for it, but he stayed out all night. Didn't come home, missed her ovulation. She was so hurt because she knew he did it on purpose. And, it was nothing that she could do except be mad at him. Like, how dare you? How could you? Why would you do that to me? And, second time roll around, she tell him again, hey, it's time. It's my ovulation. Like, let's go. We gotta get it in. Bob couldn't get it up. And again, that's how Sarah knew when it was an issue, because he couldn't get it up. Like, clearly, Bob got some stuff going on. There's some stuff wrong here. Bob can't get his stuff right, but Sarah lets it go. She don't say nothing. She's still sad or whatever. So in December, she didn't even tell him when her ovulation came around. She just had sex with him. But she didn't think it took. January rolls around, she had like a little wonky cycle. February, she already knew, like, okay, We ain't really gonna be able to do much because I'm gonna be on my cycle for Valentine's Day. Well, she didn't get her cycle, but she was so caught up in doing other stuff that she didn't notice that she hadn't got her cycle. And she finally decides to take a test. Lo and behold, she pregnant. She's super excited. She tells Bob, we did it. We did it. I'm pregnant. Bob was not excited. His face was a face of disgust. Like, he was not happy that Sarah was pregnant, and that's crazy. He wasn't happy because, again, they agreed on this. They planned this. He knew that she was taking this medicine and that they were trying to make a baby. If you didn't want a baby, why were you having unprotected sex? Why did you consent to this? Because she didn't make him do nothing. He did all this on his own. Okay. She shrugged it off because she was excited. She was happy. Her pregnancy was really, really hard on her. She was sick the entire time. She was already considered high risk because of the ectopic pregnancy and the miscarriage. And then she was over 35. So she got all these things working against her. Not to mention just the pregnancy being crappy in general. Like, it just was a shitty pregnancy. She was not happy. Bob took that opportunity to make it about himself and try to make her feel bad every chance he got. You ain't no fun. You never want to do nothing but lay around, and all you want to do is go to sleep. She's pregnant, Bob. She's carrying your child, and that child is eating her up from the inside. Why are you not more sympathetic to her? But he was not. Not to mention, he still was taking advantage of Sarah this whole time. Because at this point, Bob ain't got no car, so he driving Sarah's car. Taking her car, disappearing for days at a time, not coming back, dropping her off at work, leaving her at work. And that's the crazy part. Dropping Sarah off at work, knowing what time she get off, and not picking her up. Sarah having to call other people to come and get her, or wait there for Bob to finally show up. And the whole time that she calling him while she's standing here looking stupid, he started saying, I'm on the way, I'm on the way, I'm on the way. I'm at the gas station, I'm around the corner, I'm coming up the street. But he never was on the way. Hours then passed before Bob came and picked her up. Or Sarah finally called and said, can somebody else come get me because I don't know where Bob at. Just constantly making her look a fool. Bob took her car when she was probably 4-5 months pregnant, and went out looking for crack whores because he need people to do these drugs with. He need people that understand him, that he feel aren't going to judge him because he's an addict and doesn't want to change his lifestyle. Not to mention, he takes her car every chance he gets, drives out all the gas, brings it back on empty, and then picks a fight with her because she's upset that there ain't no gas in her car. Sarah, if you remember, says she don't like cigarette smoke. It's cigarette ash all over her car because he smokes in her car even though she asks not to. Her cup holder, he bought it back full of liquor. Not in a cup. Just poured liquor in the cup holder. Women's hair all over the car. It was not the way he took her car. There was no weave all over her car. There was no liquor in the cup holders. There was no cigarette ash all over her dash or windows or floor. She had gas, but that's how he bought her car back. Apparently, the woman that he picked up this particular time, she decided a couple weeks later to reach out to Sarah. So right after Bob took Sarah's car this particular time and bought it back a couple weeks later. I'm sorry, not a couple weeks later. Bought it back the next day. Sarah's daughter took the car, and she goes out and she calls and she goes, "Ma, the car is a mess. It's red hair all over the car. It's cigarette ash. It's liquor waste everywhere." She's like, it's a mess. And then literally probably an hour or so after that, her daughter got into a horrible, horrible car accident. Car was totaled. So now we in a rental because they got the car totaled. So they had to get a rental. They take this rental and they go to hang out with a couple friends that they know through Bob. So they go over there and they want to go to the store. Of course, Bob volunteers Sarah to drive them to the store. While they on her way to the store, Sarah gets a message on Messenger from this woman. This woman then gave Sarah her whole rundown. She know Sarah's whole life story. Everything that's going on. Everything about Sarah, everything about Bob, everything about their life. This woman then gave Sarah the tea. She goes, "Yeah, is your baby daddy named Bob?" And Sarah goes, "Why? Yeah, that's him." "Oh, well, I just wanted to, reach out to you and let you know that he been hanging out with me and blah, blah, blah. I know." And I said, "Well, how'd you get my number? How do you know about me? Like, first of all, you don't even have my number. How do you know my name?" "Well, I know your name because he called me and your name popped up." "Well, yeah, because the phones are in Sarah's name. So Sarah's name pops up when people call." She said, "That's how I got your name. Your name popped up when he called me." And I asked him who Sarah was, and he said, "Oh, that's my baby mama. She did me a favor and got this phone in her name for me because I couldn't get one." And I asked him whose car he was driving, and he said it was his car, but it was in your name, and that y'all wasn't together. He just was helping you out because he got you pregnant. Sarah said, "Oh, really?" And she was like, "Yeah, he working in construction and, and I'm like, okay, so I know she not lying because I know that he bragged to people about this. And she goes, "Yeah, we met up and, we hung out a little bit, but then he started wanting to do drugs, and I'm not with that. I only want the money. And when he didn't have no more money, I didn't want to mess around with him no more." And Sarah goes, "Oh, okay." Now, Sarah not believing this part because she done looked at the lady picture. You clearly did the drugs with the man. Like, you ain't, he ain't hit you up, offer you no $40, and then you hung out with him, and that was that. He gave you $40 and you did the drugs too. That's what happened. Y'all did drugs together and you got $40. He didn't have no more money. You got mad. Okay. So Sarah dragged him to the stove. She said, "Bob, don't get out yet. I gotta ask you something." She bring it up to him. What the hell is this? What's going on? Why does this lady know my whole life story? "Okay, I seen her walking down the street and she had a stroller and she looked like she was struggling, so I offered to give her a ride." Sarah goes, "Oh, you must think I'm Boo Boo the fool. So you seen some random woman walking down the street with a baby stroller and decided that you was gonna help her in a car that's not yours, and you didn't tell me about it." He goes, "Well, I knew you wasn't gonna understand, so that's why I didn't tell you." Okay. She don't make a scene. She finished the night out. He trying to be all lovey-dovey, cuddly, wuddly. Nah. She's still cool. When they leave there that night, she goes, "When we get back to the house. You need to get your stuff and you need to get out. Because you got me all the way messed up. Like, how dare you think that this is okay? You know, he leave. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. You know, again, same old sob story. Because again, Sarah just so stupid. She's stupid and she's pregnant now. So she like, you know what? Fine, you can come back. It's cool. You can come back. Not to mention when he did this was his birthday. He convinced Sarah and his daughter, and her daughter, that they had to get all dressed up fancy because he wanted to go out to dinner and go to the escape room. Now, mind you, Sarah pregnant and she tired and she hot. She don't want to do none of this, especially not trying to dress up. He done went to the mall and bought a blazer and everything, like just on some ignorant stuff. Like, why are you dressing up just to go to freaking Red Robin? Because that's where he wanted to go. Like, come on, bro. Be for real. Okay, whatever. Sarah and her daughter sitting, waiting. He don't never show up. You wanna know why he don't never show up? Because he out with the crack whore. He left to go get his haircut and never came back. Never came back. He was gone for 2 days. Just ridiculous. And his excuse was he fell asleep on his godbrother's couch. But he didn't answer no phone calls, no text messages, no nothing. Just ridiculous. Okay, so now we done had the car accident. Okay, now Sarah had to get a new car. Sarah didn't want to get a new car, at least not that way. Sarah had to cash out her 401k to get this car, which Sarah's pissed about that because that was her emergency money for when she went on maternity leave, because her job don't pay her for maternity leave. And with the way Bob been acting, she like, you know, I can't chance that Bob gonna do what he's supposed to do. Is Bob gonna take care of us the way he's supposed to? Because she studied, she been telling Bob since she got pregnant, Bob, you about to be a dad, you need to do better. You about to be a whole dad out here, you need to do better. For 12 weeks, you're gonna have to take care of us. For 12 weeks, you're gonna have to pay these bills. I need to know that I can rely on you, Bob, because all the bills are gonna fall on you for 12 weeks. Bob, this isn't the behavior you should be doing when you're about to be a father. Bob, if you keep disappearing like this, you're not gonna be able to take the baby by yourself. Because if I can't trust you to come home on your own, how am I supposed to be able to trust you with the baby? If I can't even trust you to answer the phone, how am I supposed to trust you with our child? Bob not caring about none of this. Okay. They go so they can get this new car. For whatever reason, Bob wanted to go with her. Bob ain't putting out a dime on Sarah's new car. But he in there opening his mouth, running his mouth, talking in the test drive, just all of this nonsense. And again, Bob ain't opened his pockets yet. Then Sarah looked, because Bob done disappeared. Bob over here talking to a salesperson like he got money to buy a car. Yeah, I'm going to come back. This is the car I'm going to get. Sarah looking like, why the hell you lying to this man? You ain't got no money. Okay. Bob don't work for the construction company no more. Construction company, they laid him off. Now he work at a factory. And he actually was making good money. But Bob lazy. And Bob don't really like going to work because Bob don't like paying bills. Bob goes and gets fired because he decides that he's going to fight with somebody at the job like a freaking idiot. All the money that Bob made before Bob got fired, instead of Bob paying the bills, Bob took that money and bought drugs. Bob is the worst drug dealer that Sarah has ever seen. She's never seen Bob make no money. And she thinks that's in part to the fact that Bob do more drugs than he sells. Now it's time to have a baby. Sarah had the baby early. They're in the hospital. Bob leaves while Sarah's in the hospital. Bob left Sarah in the hospital for 5 hours by herself. He was only supposed to be going to check his mail at his mother's house. Sarah blowing Bob up. He ain't answering the phone. She sends him a text message because now they done moved Sarah to labor and delivery. Like, she's in Rome. They prepping her to have this baby. She sends him a message and she goes, if I have this baby without you, you might as well not come back and you get no more chances after this. We're not playing these games if I have this baby alone. He come back, whole attitude, talking about, I'm just so tired. What the hell you tired from? Probably because he went out and he did some drugs. That's where he was at. Out doing drugs, sleeping with crack whores. Okay, they had the baby. Next day, Sarah's daughter come up, visit the hospital. Bob decide he need to leave. Bob leaves Sarah in the hospital with the baby for 12 hours. He disappears. And he took her debit card. And loses her debit card. And then has the nerve to get an attitude at Sarah like it's her fault. I've been outside in the rain and the cold trying to find this card. Now I'm sick. You're sick because you was out doing drugs, you freaking junkie. Don't blame this on Sarah. It's not Sarah's fault. Mad because Sarah won't call the nurse and ask the nurse to give Bob some medicine. I said, that's not how that works. They're not going to give you any medicine. Bob throws up all over Sarah's room. And then tells Sarah that she is insensitive and selfish because she don't care about nobody but herself. Mind you, Sarah just gave birth. But this is what Bob cared about. Okay. 4 days go by, they finally go home. Sarah like, okay, Bob, the car note is due. Like, I need the money for the car note. I need the money for the car note. I need the money for the rent. I need the money for the car note. Are you going to pay these bills? Because Sarah only get one more check. After that, Sarah don't get no more money until she go back to work in 12 weeks. He studied, I got it, babe. Don't worry about it. I got it. I got it. I got it. Don't worry about it, babe. I got it. A whole month go by. They're in November now. And he goes, you know what? I need to be a man and just come clean with you. I don't have it. I spent $2,700 on drugs. That was their bill money. So now they behind in bills. Sarah overdrafting her account. Overdrafting. They got by on overdrafts because Bob wasn't man enough to cover things for 12 weeks. Bob found another job. Sarah getting up with this infant, going out 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, pitch black, to take this dude to work. Then he changed jobs again. So now Sarah got to go out and pick this dude up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning with this baby. Sarah is exhausted. The baby is tired. And it's not safe taking a baby out at 2 o'clock in the morning to pick up a dude that's not even off work. Because now Sarah got to sit and wait 15, 20, 30 minutes for Bob to come out. So now they're fighting about this because Sarah is exhausted and sleep deprived, and she definitely has postpartum. Bob does not help with the baby because he don't get up. Bob laid right there and would hear that baby cry and would not get out that bed. You know what Bob did? Like that baby was bothering him. Bob barely changed diapers. Bob didn't do nothing except pee on Sarah's bathroom floor and waste every kind of liquid he possibly could on her living room carpet and fill her bed with crumbs and then get mad at Sarah. because Sarah was upset by these things. He knew when he met her that she wasn't into the filth. And she told him that, don't pee on my floor. And you know what would avoid Bob peeing on the floor? If he turned the bathroom light on. But turning on the bathroom light meant that he would be doing what Sarah told him to do. So he does not turn on the bathroom light. Not wasting anything on the living room floor meant that he wasn't being treated like a man. And people waste stuff. Kids waste things. Adults that constantly waste things are just nasty. Because if you go in the refrigerator and you pour yourself some Kool-Aid and you know you wasted on the floor and don't clean it up, that makes you nasty. Sarah woke up one day and Bob's nightstand was covered in ants. Because Bob likes to keep a drawer full of open food. Which is just nasty. But Sarah's the problem, if you ask Bob. We're going to end it here, and we'll pick up with part 3.